Good morning, students. This is my lecture number 2 for chapter number 3, Ranga's Marriage, for class 11th, subject English. Children, this chapter is taken from your supplementary book Snapshots. And in lecture number 1 of this chapter, I taught you from page number 16 to 20. And today we will complete the chapter in which I will let you know what we studied in lecture number 1, and then we will complete with its explanation from page number 20 to 24. This is the second half of the chapter, and today the explanation of this chapter will be completed. In the beginning of this lecture number 2, I will recapitulate what we studied in lecture number 1 of this chapter number 3, Ranga's Marriage. Children, the narrator of this chapter feels readers might be thinking of the fancier titles like Ranganatha Vivah, Ranganatha Vijaya or Giriraja Kalyana. He clarifies that although he had options of keeping such elaborate names, the reason why he chose the basic and casual one is because the story is about Ranga, who is very close and dear to the narrator. They live in a village called Hosahalli in Mysore, and not many people know of it, and the narrator does not blame them because there is no trace of it in the geography books. And he refers to the people as sheep who blindly follow each other and do not use their logic or brain to justify or invent things. Here he is talking about the people of village Hosahalli. At last he feels the cartographer is also not to be held responsible. As a result, there is no trace of their village on the map. Then the narrator tells the readers about their special mango trees in the village, whose mangoes are famous for their special quality and the soreness. The narrator asks the readers to take a bite and assures that the soreness of the mango will be felt by them till the top of their head. Not only the mangoes, everything in and around this village is remarkable. The creeper growing in the pond and its flowers are also very special. One can even serve an afternoon meal on its leaves. The narrator then explains the era when not many people knew or spoke English. Neither did people send their children to big cities like Bangalore to study. Back then, only the village accountant had the courage to send his son to Bangalore, who knew how to speak in English. However, 10 years ago, English was not commonly spoken in that village, and when the villagers came to know that Ranga, the son of accountant, was coming home from Bangalore, everyone got excited and rushed to his home to have a glance at him. Ranga came outside with a smile on his face. Everyone was so amazed to see that Ranga had not changed a bit after he left 6 months ago. An old lady even went to the extent of running her hands through his chest to check whether he was wearing his sacred thread, that Janevara, or not. However, she went away after confirming that he had not forgotten about his caste, and so did the villagers. Then the narrator waited till the crowd cleared and asked Ranga about his well-being. Ranga noticed him and replied with full respect in a traditional way. Ranga was well behaved and was one of those who could analyze someone's worth rightfully. He bent low and touched the narrator's feet, thereby seeking his blessings. It was not the present day namaskara where children would do it casually. It was a proper traditional one. Thinking of how nice Ranga is, the author thought it would be a good deed to have him married to a girl just as nice as him. They chatted for a while, and then the narrator asked Ranga about his views on getting married. Ranga expressed that he did not intend to marry now because he intended on finding the right girl for himself. Whereas, suppose the narrator found a girl who was very young, She could misunderstand his words and actions because she was not mature enough. He mentioned the love story of Shakuntala and Dushyanta from Mahabharata, and that he would not have fallen in love with Shakuntala if she were too young. In that case, Kalidasa's play also would have not existed. That is why Ranga intended on staying a bachelor till he found the right girl for himself. The narrator introduced another character named Ratna, who was 11 years old and was Rama Rao's niece. She had lost both her parents, so her uncle Rama Rao brought her from the big town to his home with him. She had a great voice and could play harmonium and veena. The narrator thought that Ranga and Ratna would make a great pair. And Ratna was quite familiar with the narrator as he visited Rama Rao's place frequently. The narrator thought of a plan to introduce Ratna to Ranga. He asked Rama Rao to send Ratna to his place as he wanted to send some buttermilk for them. She came all dressed up. The narrator that time insisted upon her to sing a song of Krishnamurti while he sent someone to call Ranga. Just as she was singing, Ranga arrived at the doorstep of the narrator, and her melodious voice touched his ears, and thus he did not want to interrupt the singing, so he stood at the door only. He was curious to see the face of the singer, and very cautiously he tried to have a look which disturbed the lighting of the room. On seeing a stranger, Ratna immediately stopped her singing. This was the first half of the chapter that we covered in my first lecture, and today in this lecture we will proceed further. The second half of the chapter begins with Ranga's interest to know about Ratna. When the narrator decided their meeting and he found that Ranga also became desperate to see the face of the singer, then he noticed that Ranga had generated some interest in Ratna. The narrator compared Ranga's situation to the disappointment of dropping a best quality mango on the floor just before having a truly enjoy it. It was as if something great had been stolen before one could fully enjoy it. Ranga asked the narrator why he called for him. Ratna was shy and thus looked downward, whereas Ranga steadily glanced at her. There was an awkward silence in that room. After things went a bit awkward, Ranga said that he felt it was his coming that stopped the singing, so he must leave. However, he did not want to leave. It was just the talk, he said, so that he would also get a chance to interact or communicate with the girl named Ratna. The narrator made fun of him because he had no intention of going. He joked about it and said no one could expect actions and words to match in this Kaliyug. After a few minutes of awkward silence, Ranga finally asked the narrator about the girl. Now, the narrator compared the situation with the infamous story of the he-goat and the lion, where he is the he-goat and Ranga, the lion. The narrator replied very clearly and intended on seeing Ranga's interest in knowing about Ratna. Thus he said that who she was not of that much importance because he was already married and Ranga did not intend on marrying any time soon. So there was no matter of discussing about the girl. And hearing the narrator's reply, Ranga got more excited, although he did not show it, but was quite evident. Full of hope, he asked if she wasn't married, yet to which the narrator replied that she was married, probably a year ago. Ranga was disappointed on listening to this and he became disheartened. It was clearly all over his face. He went away quoting some work. So all this happened because the narrator noticed interest of Ranga in Ratna. But when Ranga asked the narrator whether the girl was married or not, the narrator understood that the love in his heart had been generated for Ratna, and in order to test it, he said she got married a year ago. Okay, and then Ranga moved on because he became disheartened on listening to this reply from the narrator's mouth that the girl was married. Now, in order to test the love of Ranga towards Ratna, the narrator made a plan in which he included the Shastri of the village. The narrator, having staged certain liking in the mind of Ranga for Ratna, went on to complete his play. He went to the village Shastri and told him everything that had to be said and done. Then he met Ranga that afternoon, and he carried the same disappointment on his face. Upon asking if it was a headache, the narrator told him that they should go to see a doctor. Ranga insisted that everything was fine with him and he was his normal self. The narrator very wittily made a remark that he went through the same feelings when he was seeing girls for himself, and immediately mentioned that it could not be the reason for Ranga. Furthermore, he suggested that they should go to see a Shastri if the stars, means Guru for Jupiter or Shani for Saturn, are in his favor or not. Then Ranga went with him. It was all pre-planned by the narrator, as he tutored the Shastri that once he came with Ranga to him, Shastri would say what was tutored by the narrator to him in order to take the inner feelings out through his mouth. Therefore, he took Ranga to Shastri so that Shastri would create such an environment or the atmosphere in which he would tell about the stars of Ranga, and Ranga would be desperate enough to let him know the reason of his disappointment or the sadness on his face. Now, the meeting or the episode begins when Ranga meets Shastri at his place. On seeing Shastri ji, he implied not having seen the narrator in a long while, which was obvious not true, as they had met before the same morning. Here, the narrator revealed his pet name. His pet name was Shama, as they called him in the village. The narrator felt that Shastri was lying because they saw each other that morning, and thus he immediately responded. However, Shastri completed his sentence and saved the entire situation. Shama realized what he was just about to do and took extra care for that moment. Shastri continued his role and acted surprised on seeing Ranga. The narrator asked the Shastri to take out all his tools to help solve whatever was going on in Ranga's mind with full authority. Shastri, as he was tutored by the narrator, took out all his essentials and told them that was all ancient science, but he would not recite it then because both of them would get bored on listening what the stars would tell about that Ranga and all. Shastri moved his lips while counting quickly and asked Ranga about his star, which he did not know at all. Shastri implied that it was manageable. He appeared to be doing certain calculations, his own statistics. After a moment, he indicated that Ranga had a girl on his mind. Even after trying his best, Shama could not control his laughter. He thus posed the question to Shastri, asking about the details of the girl. Here Shama could not control his laughter because he knew Shastri was saying what he tutored him that very morning only. It was all the plan of Shama, the narrator, on which the Shastri was acting upon. Now, Shastri thought and replied that the girl was likely to have a name of something found in the ocean. Their guesses included Kamla, Kamal, Pachi, Moss, Pearl, and then suddenly Shastri said Pearl. Pearl means Ratna. Ratna, that is Ratna, which is usually found in oceans. All of it came together now to a girl named Ratna, who was the niece of Ramarao. That's it. Ranga was thinking about her only. Ranga was both surprised and happy because Shastri's predictions were right. He immediately became disappointed when he recalled that she was married. And all that incident was making the narrator laugh. Why? Because this was all tutored by the narrator to Shastri to get to know the name of that girl named Ratna from the mouth of Ranga. Now we will talk about the success of the narrator in his plan. It was all the plan of the narrator Shyama that forced Ranga to admit yes, he had fallen in love with Ratna. Then, after listening to the words of the Shastri, both the narrator and Ranga left and crossed Ramarao's door, where Shyama went to see Ratna for a minute and came back. When the narrator came back, he announced that fortunately Ratna was not married. Someone might have wrongly conveyed it to him about that. The narrator expressed his amazement at the fact that he had been thinking about Ratna and asked him to swear upon the truth. To his surprise, Ranga told him the truth. Whatever Shastri said was true about him. His belief in all the Shastras had strengthened. Shyama went to see the Shastri that evening when he was near the well and remarked about how well he did what Shyama told him to do. Shastri seemed to not like what the narrator was saying. Thus he said, whatever he said could very clearly be seen in the Shastras also. He completely disagreed with having staged the entire conversation. So, this was how the narrator found his plan was successful, and due to his plan, he was capable enough to get to know about the hidden feelings of Ranga about Ratna, in which Ranga himself admitted from his mouth that he had fallen in love of Ratna, but he was disappointed as the girl got married a year ago. So this was the second plan of the narrator, that while coming back from the Shastri's house, he went to Ramarao's home and then confirmed whether Ratna was married or not, though he knew about it, but he pretended as if he did not know that Ratna was not married. Then he came out and told Ranga that Ratna was not married. It was somewhere misconception in his mind. This made Ranga very happy. He became overjoyed. Now at last the narrator tells how the beautiful couple of Ranga and Ratna visited the narrator's house after 10 years. Now the narrator took us a few years forward, where Ranga and Ratna were happily married, and they had a 3-year-old son, and Ratna was 8 months pregnant. Ranga's sister had come over to help them. It was Shyama's birthday. Yes, the couple named their son after the narrator, as it was a common foreign tradition to name the child after someone they truly admired. When the narrator went there for dinner, Shyama came running to him only to show his love by holding his leg. The narrator kissed him and gave him a ring. The narrator wrote an ending note to all the readers, hoping that they were not bored. So this was the complete explanation of the chapter. Here the chapter ends, in which the narrator Shyama felt very happy to see that Ranga and Ratna got married and they had one 3-year-old son who was also given the same name of the narrator, that was Shyama. And he was very happy to see that his plan was successful of marrying them both, and then he felt very happy that they were leading a very good and happy life and they had a very loving and happy family. And he was very happy to see that he was the only one who had changed the mind of Ranga, as Ranga had different thoughts about his marriage, and it was all become possible due to the efforts of the narrator that Ranga married to Ratna and both of them were leading a very good and happy life. And now, homework of the day. You people are supposed to read the chapter from page number 20 to 24 from your book Snapshots thoroughly and write the summary of this second half of the chapter in your fair English notebooks. I hope you have understood the chapter and I wish you all a very good luck. Thank you. Have a nice day.